Stand by. Stand by. Okay, let's begin. So hello and welcome everyone. I'm Matt Lackenbach. I'm the founder and executive director of the Middle East Peace Civic Forum. And in today's discussion, we're joined by some very distinguished guests who you'll meet in just a moment. And this is the first of our new critical conversation series on the topic of visions of peace. And so first I'll start by introducing Hiam Tanous. Hiam is a founder of Women Wage Peace, a senior educator, counselor, and dialogue leader, a
Founder.
Palestinian. Excuse me?
I'm not a founder. I'm not a founder.
Ah,
Yael is a founder. Sorry.
pardon me. Okay, thank you. But you're with Women Wage Peace, which is a wonderful organization, and you've spent decades training in Arab and Jewish schools, building emotional literacy programs, creating space for shared conversations and healing conversations. And now you're part of the leadership of Women Wage Peace, yes, and working
Yes.
as a beautiful bridge between different communities. So we're so honored to have you with us today. And our second guest is Yael Admi, a co-founder and chairwoman of Women Wage Peace, which is one of the largest grassroots peace movements in Israel. And you're a longtime facilitator, ethicist, tech leader. And Yael, you've dedicated yourself to building deep partnerships across communities, including a collaboration with the organization Women of the Sun, which is a group of Palestinian women. And I want to acknowledge that we had a Palestinian guest confirmed for today, and she shared with us that she felt hesitant about personal safety and respectfully declined, but sent us her love and her commitment to the cause. And she's with us in spirit, and really all of our partners are with us in spirit. So she couldn't be in the room today, but our conversation very much welcomes the spirit of all of the people, in particular the women who are standing firm for peace. And even the loss of a single life is a tragedy. And we've seen so much loss of life over the last 2 years, and even going back 50, 60, 70 years to the roots of this conflict. And our intention for today is to hold a space for moderate, courageous voices, for your voices, voices of humanity. And you're requesting and demanding a space to get on with the business of life and living, and to put the fighting and the war in the past permanently. And our role here at MEPCF is to amplify the love that's here in this room and give it a chance to spread like wildfire across the world. And Jews and Muslims and friends who are willing to lay down the hatchet and do the important work to have a real breakthrough, we're very much coming into this discussion from that spirit. And in my experience, when you put Jews and Muslims and Christians together in a room, as long as you can handle certain issues, we love each other. That's just kind of the way it is. And personally, and so many friends and colleagues have experienced this phenomenon over and over again. So I think we want to bring that recognition to our discussion today, and that's so important. And I'm also joined today by Bill Phillips. Welcome, Bill. Bill will be joining me in the discussion as a co-facilitator. And Bill, you're an Englishman living in Dublin, Ireland, where you're joining us from today. And I'm reminded of the experience of the courageous Irish women, courageous Catholics and Protestants who joined hands across Belfast and their divides during the Trouble. And these women led peace marches, they formed a women's coalition, and they showed the world that grassroots courage can often soften even the hardest lines of conflict. And these women, they faced suspicion and even hostility from their own communities. They were told not to trust each other, that dialogue could be dangerous, but they brought their courage and their commitment to seeing the humanity in one another, and it ultimately did lead to a significant breakthrough. And as it happens, I'll be in Ireland next week. I'm looking forward to meeting Bill in person for the first time and meeting some new and beloved friends over there and colleagues for the first time. And so with that introduction, Bill, I'm going to turn it over to you. I'll just say Bill is a practitioner of neuro-linguistic program and a very experienced and seasoned facilitator. And Bill, perhaps more than anyone I've ever met, is a man of studied and rare neutrality. So that is something that is so important to our discussion here, and being able to provide space for different views and different voices. And we're fortunate today to be all together and coming from a common commitment. So with that, Bill, I'll turn it to you.
Thanks, Matt. Welcome, ladies. I think this is a very exciting time for what we're doing here. And really, I want to turn it over to you and say, how would you like to start this discussion? How would you like to begin?
Maybe the best thing will be to speak about Marwa that didn't arrive. She has so good reasons, and we feel she is with us here. And I think Yam can explain in the best way how frightening and dangerous is for Marwa to be here with us.
Yes, really. First of all, I felt that something is happening over there because since the morning I tried to call Reem and she didn't answer. And I heard that there was plenty of the situation is very bad, and all the soldiers are around the Heshi camp, so they felt that they are not secure, and they wanted, to be under the radar. Uh, the problem over there is really our concern because what we are doing right now, all of us, is what we are going to do in order to stop the movement, to stop the war, and to bring back the hostages. But before that, I would like to say something about ourselves before coming in partnership with Women of the Sun. I want to talk about myself. I'm Hiyam Tannous from Haifa. Haifa is a multicultural city where lives Jewish, Arabs, Muslims together. And since my early childhood, I felt that we can bring peace because we lived in peace. I remember I lived in a building with our Jewish family and a Muslim family. I remember that every Friday I waited for the chamin of my Jewish friend, and in the morning I brought her the hummus. And Rachel and me, we went to have dinner at Fatma's house. So we felt that everything is okay. What's happening? Why people hate themselves? But when I grew up, I knew what happened. I knew that, there was a Nakba at the 49. And since then, there is a fear. The Palestinian feared, the Israeli Palestinian feared the Jewish people, and the Jewish people feared the Palestinian Israelis. So this segregation brought me to feel that why we are people, we are human. Why I have to hate my Jewish friends? So when I started learning at the university and I took my master degree in counseling and psychology, I worked on myself, and I felt there, as I met Jewish friends who were learning with me, I felt that pain is not a monopoly. Each each nation has its own pain, and we can say that the pain of one is more than the other. So this is why when I retired from being a senior supervisor, working with counseling, with parents, and with children, listening to their pain, listening to listening to what they are living. So I brought all my tools and I said I have to do something between Israel and Palestine. And this is how I came to Women Wage Peace, and since then I'm stuck with them. I was twice at the steering wheel, and now I am at the board committee with Yael, because I feel that we have to do something. We, the Palestinian Israeli here, we are a bit, we are schizophrenic, because I identify myself as Palestinian Israeli. So imagine, I feel 100% Palestinian, I feel 100% Israeli, and I weep every day because my half is at war with my other half. So it's really a very terrible, terrible feeling to know Yael and to know Reem and to know that both of them are suffering, and I have all the privilege to be Israeli. I have the identity of Israel, but the Palestinian in the West Bank don't have their identity, and my life is much better than theirs. So this is how I will continue afterward, but I want Yael, because if I want to continue, I won't stop. Yael, say something.
Okay, thank you, Yam. So I'll begin with the missing part, that my heart is feeling so bad that our Palestinian partners, our close partners, close friends, they can't be with us here now. And it presents the asymmetric, the big gap between our situation and their situation. And this is the big obstacle that we have in our common daily life, to find the ways. And I'm so sorry that they can't be with us here. So I feel that one of my duties here is to represent their voice. And as Yam said, the idea that they are under military control now, without any freedom, and in a very dangerous situation. And we are here. I feel so privileged. I can express myself. I can do whatever I want, but we are here together. So first of all, it's very, very important to send from here our admiration to their courage, to their devotion, to their dedication to our common mission to bring peace for our children. And my story is that in very early age, I learned the price of war. I was 12 years old and I lost my oldest brother in one more unneeded, avoidable, stupid war that should be prevented. And he was my oldest brother, the beloved one. And on his grave, I promised my parents two promises. First of all, I promised them that I'll make many children. I was 12 years old. I felt that this is the way that I can bring to them some happiness. By the way, at that moment, I became the mature one in the family. My childhood stopped at that moment. And the second promise was that I'll make peace, because very closely I understood the high price of wars. How awful is this? How deep is the grief? So my poor English, it's very difficult for me to express my feelings, but I'll do my best. And actually from that time, that is the most important things in my life. And about my promise about many children, I did my best. I have 6 kids and already 13 lovely grandchildren. But the the sad part is that my mother didn't have chance to enjoy them, because she died from broken heart. And I saw it very closely. And from that moment, I know. And now when I'm mother and as grandmother, in a way, it's very natural to die after your child is dying. So this deep pain is leading me every day to promote peace. I am now 68, so it's quite many years that I'm doing it. We had quite important successes. We have peace with Egypt, we have peace with Jordan, we withdraw from Lebanon, but the big, big and terrible issue, the conflict with the Palestinian neighbors, still didn't find place for peace. And it's terrible. And I'm devoting all my life actually for trying to amplify the voice of peace activists, of women from both sides that want to grow up their kids for life, not for death. And these days, what is written here for me is stop the war. The last 2 years, it's really hell. And the situation is awful. And it's important for me to tell that the situation in Gaza is not in our name. We are ashamed what's happening now there. We want to stop the war. We demand to stop the war. The unmoral, the unhumanity steps. We want to bring our hostages home, our soldiers home. We don't want our kids will be killed, and we don't want them to kill anyone. This war should stop now. And this is our most important mission in these days. And it's very, very, very difficult. But my power grows from our partnership with the Palestinian brave women and with my dearest friend, Yam, that actually the bridge of gold from both sides, the ability to understand the feelings, the culture, the dreams, the language, the fears, helps us so much to find the way how to keep this so important partnership that really, as you said, in many places, in very deep and long conflicts, women succeed to bring peace. And I believe we can do it.
Women need a voice, don't they? Because men historically just ignore them and think, well, they're not really important. And certainly they're not important in terms of war and organizing things. What's your message to women in the Middle East?
What the message, pardon, please say again?
Yeah, to women in the Middle East.
To women in the Middle East.
What are you saying to them?
You ask what's the message for who? For
the
real?
women. For the women. So
Palestinian
when you
women?
speak, Palestinian and Jewish women, where you say to them your message, where you say to them what's important, and bring them together to demonstrate and to make these voices heard. What is it that you say to them?
Bill, it's a long story. As Yael said, we are a grassroots movement, and we were founded. The movement was founded in 2014 after the war of the protective edge, And for 10 years, for 7, 8 years, we worked here in Israel between ourselves, making also demonstrations, standing at the intersections, going to the parliament, doing plenty of things in order. And our message was we want a political solution which will bring peace and freedom to everyone here in the region. But after 8 years, we said that it's not enough. We are just Israeli, and we can't make peace without our enemies or without the other side, the Palestinian women. So we started looking for brave Palestinian women who, under their ugly situation and the way they are living over there, who will come and give us her hand and will say that we want to be with you, we want to be your partners. It took us 2 years. 2 years we met with plenty of Palestinian women, but we felt that they are scared. They don't want to make with us, partnership. It didn't work at the beginning. Then Yael met Reem somewhere at a meeting, and she invited her to a Zoom. And we felt, both of us and the others, that Reem really is the one who will make a change. She comes from the Deheshi camp. She lives, in a house where there is no even, the sun doesn't enter her house. But she had 3 children, and she said, I don't want that my children will die. I want them to live, especially after the friend of Wasim, her firstborn, was killed by the Israeli soldiers, and his body till now, is in Israel, and his mother is weeping, and every day telling us, please bring me back my son. I want to weep at his grave. So this is how our movement started. The movement started. We started to meet. There was lots of anger, lots of frustration, lots of tears. We really, we really had plenty of time for listening to each other. We listened, we cried together, and at the end, we felt that we are mothers. Reem is a mother and Yael is a mother. So what can we do in order to change this ugly situation? And then we came to a conclusion, and we wrote together the mother school. The mother school, which means that Israel and Palestinian women doesn't want their children to die. We want to give peace, security, freedom to both nations, and we want to live, and we want to influence our leaders to come to a political solution which will give life to both nations. And this is how it took us 9 months. We were pregnant for 9 months in order, to write this mother's call. It wasn't easy because it was written by us and by the Reem and the owner of the son. Because then, after we met Reem, she founded the Women of the Sun. Also a movement which works Palestinian, and with us, the partnership is in the mother's call. So this is how our mother's call was born, and our message bill to the mothers that we are mothers. It's time for the mother to raise on her feet, to say no more. Till now, excuse me, I love you both, but men knows how to make war. They don't know how to make peace. We, the women who thinks with our minds, with our souls, and with our wombs, we know how to make peace because we talk another language. we, uh, it's us who bore the children in our wombs for 9 months, and we don't want them to die. And I think the message of the mother's call arrived to all the world. Each one who is the mother's call says, I want to sign this petition. I want to be with you. I believe in you. We want peace. And now Reem has 3,000 followers, women followers, and she is doing everything to empower the Palestinian woman financially, socially, whatever, in order that she can talk with them about peace building. Because, in Palestine, it's still the patriarch society, and there the woman can't raise her head till now. She has to be a follower to her husband, and we want the Palestinian woman to raise her head, to stand on her feet, and to be also a decision maker. So this is our message. We want all the women to unite and to say, we are mothers, we want to give life to our children, we have to stop the wars, and we have to change this bloody situation.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you both about the importance of talking to one another and the work that you're doing to build bridges and to reach out and to find partners. To me, there's no more important work than that. And really, it's about building relationships and the foundation of relationships. But what can you say to those who are skeptical about the whole idea of engaging in dialogue with, quote unquote, the other or the enemy, and speak to the importance of understanding that dialogue and communication and really building those bridges, like you talked about the anger coming out, the fear coming out. Like it's not like everything is roses and everything is beautiful from day one. There's so much pain. You go through all of that and then you get to a place. But can you address that challenge?
First of all, before Yael, I want to say that I understand the skepticism. I understand because I was there for 3 weeks. I told you I identify myself as Palestinian, but Israeli, but I couldn't understand the real pain and the real place where they are before I met Reem and the Woman of the Sun. Really, you can't understand. You can't understand their situation. And as I told you before, they didn't want to meet us. They were scared because for the Palestinian people, they know just the wall and the soldiers. They don't know that there are people in Israel. They never, for instance, Wasim, the son of Reem, is 20 years old. The wall is being built for 20 years, so he doesn't see anyone. He just is a soldier with his weapon and the wall. So how he's going to think, how he's going to react? Of course, the Israeli will feel skeptic. But if you don't put your heart and all your trust in each other, you can't change. You have to believe, you have to trust, you have to listen. You have to listen with the third ear, to listen and sometimes not to answer in order that they power all the anger, all the frustration. And then, peace. Then, I mean, a dialogue would come. And now, if you see Yael and Reem, for instance, they look like sisters. When Reem calls Mama Yael and Yael calls her daughter, because we talk together, we sat together for hours, for days, for months, and we put our heart in everything. This is why I think you can build trust when you sit and you talk and you listen and you power your feelings and you are not afraid to say whatever you feel and that the other one is listening to you with all his ears and with all his heart. This is the beginning. This is the base of the meetings and of the connection between us.
That's so beautiful.
Indeed.
Yael, did you want to respond as well?
Thank you, Yam. It's so moving to listen to you again and again. This is, by the way, one of our secrets. We are listening to each other and giving energy. That's the way that we are working, meeting, hugging, crying, and being together. Because in these so bad days, we need each other. And I think one of our most important abilities as women, and you will excuse me, but there are many men that have these abilities, but I think we are most professional in this about about empathy, the ability to bring empathy to each other, even though with some disagreements, but to look at the eyes and to understand the deep feelings, the idea about dreams, about despair, about motivation and anger. Our hearts are open to listen to this. And the idea of listening to the others and to find place in our heart to their stories to find place for understanding, for friendship, and it can be with based on disagreements. But the idea that our deep base is humanity as women, I think this is the most powerful power that we bring to the situation. And that's the way to build trust. And without trust, we can't continue to change the reality. And that's what we know how to do, to build trust and to feel close enough to overcome the very, very difficult challenges that we are facing in these days. And I think that something that women bring to the table, it's the ability to look at the multidimension, the complexity of the problem. First of all, we know that in wars, there are no winners. We know that the price of wars is terrible, and we know that there are multi points of view, multi fields that mix together in this conflict. And our ability to look on the complexity of the situation, to see the different points of view, and to give them empathy, it's one of the most important abilities to build trust and to continue for reconciliation. And you will not be surprised to know that according to researchers, if women around the table, it's something like more 40% higher chances that we will find sustainable solutions. And you can see it in many places all over the world, in Ireland, in Liberia, in Rwanda, in Philippines, in Colombia, in many places where women were involved in the process and contribute their voice to the process. Very long and bloody conflicts were finished. And I really believe that this awful war, actually, it's a great opportunity for us because aside the anger and the hate and the despair that everywhere, most of the people in Israel now understands, and most of the people understand that we need to find solution to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. We are looking for a regional alliance and find a way to feel safe. And the majority of the Israeli population, which wasn't like this 2 years ago, understand that that's the time to make change. The sad part is that we are controlled by a very, very, very bad government that leads us to hell. But we are, איך אומרים מתנגדים?
We are against.
We are against. We are not. We are not agree to these
We don't
steps,
agree.
and we are demonstrating fighting against these steps. And I hope that our power with the Palestinian women will lead all of us to a better place, that all of us can enable our kids to fulfill their dreams and not to be killed in such terrible wars.
Yeah. So I'm curious, in the middle of the conflict, when there's so much pain and suffering going on, we can talk about all the areas of unworkability. But sometimes I think it's left out of the conversation is discussion about what is the real vision of what can be, what's possible in the context of Israeli and Palestinian people working together and turning a new leaf, turning a new page over, and being able to create something positive. Can you speak to that a bit? And what is it that you actually envision? And I don't even mean like it has to be this political framework or that political framework, but just maybe on a human level, what is your vision for what could be?
I can talk about that. Look, Matt and Bill, the Israeli people always say that we don't have a partner. They don't believe in the Palestinian woman. Today, in my session at the university, there was another lecturer. So he said, we don't believe in the Palestinians. Palestinians wants to slaughter us. So I looked at him. I told him, from where? They said, look what Hamas has done. I told him, okay, but why are you saying this? From where comes the vision or the idea that they are going to slaughter you? He said, I will never ever be in touch with them because I believe that they are going to slaughter us. You see, there is so much segregation. They never met. The Palestinian society and the Israelis never met, never talked, never. So each one looks at the other as a monster. This is why this is what's happening. But what you are doing with the Palestinian women, it's going to change the idea because I remember when Reem, came 8 times here to Israel before the 7th of October, and she met with plenty of Israeli women, it was a conversation. She talked about her feelings, what's going over there, and she talked about her narrative. You should see there were each time in the at the play we were at a very big place, and there were more than 500 Israeli women listening to Reem. You should see how they were listening from with their hearts, with their souls, with their eyes, with their ears, because they met a Palestinian woman who came. She didn't blame, she didn't shame, she didn't tell them you are bad or anything. She just talked her story, and they listened to that story, and they felt that she is a woman. She is in pain, and we are in pain, and we can connect. And this is how you can connect. When you see the other, you meet him and you talk to him. So we started these meetings between us before the 7th of October, and we wanted to continue them. But after the 7th of October, we didn't have permit. And a very, also a story, in September, 7th October, 7th of September, we were at Be'eri at the kibbutz where Vivian Silver, our friend, lived. So Rib was there, and Vivian, hosted her, and there were more also 400 women sitting over there, and they talked together. And the next day, there was a delegation from France. Vivian went to Bet Jala, and she met Rib. So there was a real connection between them. The day of this bloody 7th October, I was awakened by Reem. It was, everything started at 7 o'clock. Hiyam, wake up. Do you know what's happening over there? Wake up and tell me, please, what happened to Vivian? And she called Yael. I told her, Reem, Yael, please, how is Vivian? Imagine this woman, because she met Vivian, she wanted to know what's going on with Vivian. And we started looking for Vivian. At the beginning, we thought that she was a hostel. Then we knew that she was killed the first day. So then Reem told Yael, and Yael also can say that Yael, now we have to start to work together to change this situation. Why all these things happen? Because the depth of the meeting, because we looked at the eyes of each other, not like enemies, but like mothers who are suffering, who are painful, who want their kids to live. So if we continue our work now, for instance, Reem is bringing our story to the Palestinian people, and the Palestinian people, this connection together, and the meetings, and they know now the Israeli are not monsters, and the Palestinian and the Israeli know that the Palestinian are no monster. This is the beginning, but we should work on and on. We should meet more Palestinian women. For instance, now Reem has 3,000, but there are more than, I don't know how much, millions of Palestinian women there. We want to meet them, we want to talk with them, we want to tell them our story, we want to listen to their story. This is a process. This is a process which it should began 20 or 30 years ago, but it didn't. This is why we are the hope. This is why every country is inviting us to talk. Every country is inviting us to see who are these crazy women who are coming to change the situation while the husbands are killing themselves at the frontiers. So imagine, even the Prime Minister of Uruguay invited us in order to listen to us. I think we are the hope, because now everyone is listening, hearing the killing and the attacks and the violence. But when they hear that there are two movements, one Palestinian and one Israeli, who are together, partnership in the mother's cause, and who wants to change the situation, they want to listen to us. We are like, we are a story for the people, and a healthy, pure, beautiful story, which everyone wants that to happen here in the Middle East.
Yeah. And that's the beautiful thing, isn't it? It's the purity of what you say. And nobody, at least in the women's movement, is trying to solve the problems of the Middle East, are they? They're saying, no, it's people. It's people. Yeah. It's just differences. When you get to know the people, they're not so different. In fact, they're the same. They're brothers and sisters. I agree.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
I would like to add the story that happened 3 days before the 7th of October. We were together 1,500 Palestinian and Israeli women. We were together in Jerusalem, in the Dead Sea. It was on the 4th of October, 2023. And we said we have to solve the conflict, because all of us are sitting on a ticking bomb that will blow in our face. And we said, listen to our mother's call. Please don't hesitate. Begin a process for reconciliation and peace, because otherwise the extreme voices are amplifying and the moderate voices have no ability to influence the reality. Please do it. It's urgent. And 3 days after, our friends from the border of Gaza were killed, and women from Gaza Strip, the Palestinian women of the Sun, more than 40 of them were died in the bombs. But even though we are continuing, because we know it's our duty, especially in war days, to find the future, our responsibility for the coming generations. This is our mission, and especially now, in these days that we can't stand the terrible situation, our duty is to continue, because we know this conflict can be solved. We can find a way to live together. There are many options to do it. We just need the leaders to understand that that's what they need to do. And we have a big support from many countries around the world to promote this peace. And we know that our duty as mothers is to demand to go in this path. And this is exactly what we are asking in our mother school. As Israeli and Palestinian women, we demand to promote peace, mutual agreed for life of freedom, agreement for life of freedom and security and equality for all of us. And we know it's possible. And I can tell you something that for me is very moving and giving a lot of energy and strength. In these days, we get amazing support from women around the world, very prominent women, and we have amazing movement organization by the name Vital Voices. And in 3 weeks, we will meet in Venice with amazing group of women around the world, Nobel Prize, Peace Nobel Prize women. And all of us will think together, a big group of 5 Palestinian women, 5 Israeli, and something like 30 women around the world from Arabic countries, from the States, from Europe, from Africa, from all over the world, women that understand that this is our duty and they want to help us to amplify, to enhance our voice with Mother School. And I hope that very soon all of us will see a big international campaign for this Mother School, because we know that to change our reality, we need this support. We need the support of the world, of the peace activists, for the people that see our bad situation and know that we have to do it together. And for me, it's a great source for energy and hope, the idea that we are not alone. And it's, I think, the ability to build this trust in such asymmetric situation, it's based on the idea that we are together, women around the world, women here and in Palestine, from Israel and Palestine. We are connected by our wombs, the idea that we are bringing children, and we know that our mission is to take care of them. And when I'm speaking like this, I remember we were everywhere in Israel and trying to convince people to make peace, and also in the Parliament House. And I was there, and somebody asked me, how much energy you have, because they see me running all the days and from here to there. And I, without thinking, as I answered, I have the exact energy that your mother has to take care of your life. So this is our engine, our inner energy to take care of life, and we will not stop. There is no power in the world that will stop us, and especially now. And I would like also to thank you for this interview, because it's another one more channel to bring our voices to more audience. And I hope that the hearts will be open and will support us. And one of our biggest achievements in these terrible days, we decided to make a joint website to present our joint work. And all of you are most welcome to look at the mothers-call.org and to look about and to see how many things we are doing together and how much we need your support. And there you can see the story of our partnership. And actually, it's a story of more than 5 years because it was a long process to build this trust. And as Yam said, to find the real devoted women that can join to our special language, because we have really special language as mothers, as women. We have some principles that are not easy for everyone. The most important one is no blaming, no shaming. And in these difficult days, it's very, very, very challenging. But we know that our responsibility is to look to the future, not to shame and to blame anyone, because it will not help, even though there are so many good reasons to do it. And we know, according to researchers, that the ability of societies to arrive to reconciliation is deeply connects to the ability to look forward, not to stuck in the daily problems that they are so terrible. So that's what we are trying to do together, and to feel the hope. And I can tell you that in these days that despair is everywhere, the idea that we can make hope. Hope is not something that suddenly arrives in the horizon. You have to work for making hope. And each meeting and each conversation and each demonstration and each panel and each ability to meet and to speak actually creates hope. And we are doing it together with our Palestinian partners. And I can say, from my personal point of view, this is the only ability for me to overcome this terrible war. And actually, it's our partnership and my grandchildren, because they symbolize for me the future, our responsibility. Even though yesterday I just told you that when I was playing with them, I couldn't stop crying because I just thought about the children in Gaza. But it gives me more energy to continue in our path for peace. Because as mothers, as grandmothers, we know that this is our duty.
Yes, absolutely. So what is your specific request for whether it's international leaders or for civil society leaders or regular folks to get involved? Like, what is your actual, when you talk about supporting the peace movement, demanding that we promote peace, like what can people actually do to provide partnership? And I think when people work together and build a movement, it provides cover. You know what I mean? Like if it's one person speaking out in a sea of opposing voices, it's too much. But if there's a whole international movement of people saying we must talk to each other, we must work it out, we must live together, then all of a sudden those people who are maybe hesitant to speak their mind, now they become more free. So how can people promote that? How can we promote that?
You mean in the world or in the
Yeah,
world? You mean?
around the world, right?
To tell you the truth, I for myself am very disappointed from our government, because they have their own agenda and they don't see us. Whatever we do here, for instance, demonstrations, going with flyers and to the parliament everywhere, they have their own agenda. So it's this is why we thought that maybe if we'll go to the world and the world will listen to us, maybe the leaders of the world would influence. For instance, you saw now what's happening. You know that because we were everywhere, we were in all Europe, in Barcelona, in Paris, in Montpellier, in Slovenia, and there they write about us. Everyone in Europe knows us. So I don't know if maybe I'm naive, but what the President Macron has done a month ago, he invited 300 activists, Israeli and Palestinian. He sent a plane to Israel, and we were 150, and he sent a plane to Amman and also 150, and he wanted to listen to the civic society. What does the civic society is saying? So we sat over there for 3 days, and they took the summaries. And now one of our friends is in New York preparing the summary for the meeting with Saudi Arabia. What I'm going to say that we need that the world will influence. For instance, we need the world, so to say, for instance, to both sides come, sit, and make a political agreement. Now, Macron started, then we heard that England also wants to propose and to say about the two states. So if most of the countries of Europe will say we want peace, we want to interfere in the Middle East, we don't want the war to continue, we want the hostages back to their parents. I think that it would change something. It won't stay. So this is about your request. We want all the world, all the women of the world, all the men to say we have to interfere in order to stop this bloody war, to bring back the hostages, and to make peace, to give both security, freedom, right, equality. That really we have enough. Imagine, I remember since I was born, every 10 years we have a war. Look at the casualties. Look at the casualties in Gaza, and look at our soldiers also. Oh, the mothers want their children back, both. They don't want the children to die. It's enough. About what? About what? This corpse. It's not, a pity. It's not a pity that every mother is visiting her son at the grave. Why? Why we are so stubborn to just for the land and I don't know. Someone has to shake them, tell them, come, sit, talk. Of course, there's plenty of, we as women with Swiss, we don't say that we are talking about one solution. We say every solution accepted by the two leaders, we are with them. We want them uh, to, to propose the solution. But till now, nobody is talking about the solution. We can't continue. We can't continue want to live as the world lives. Uh, for instance, I was in Paris while the war was on. I look how the people are happy over there, sitting, drinking coffee, laughing. The children. I said, "Oh my God, why we don't have this feeling here? We can't breathe. We can't breathe because we are stuck at the TV, listening to the news. Every day we count how many people are casualties from the Palestinian side, how many soldiers are from outside. It's hell. It's really hell. We can't continue in this situation.
Right, definitely. So let me ask you, when international leaders sometimes come out and say, we support the two-state solution, and what you're saying is that it's not so much about whether it's this political framework or that political framework, but that the leaders need to come together and hammer it out. What is the right approach? Let's say you're advising Macron or you're talking to the Prime Minister of Uruguay or Argentina or wherever. What would you say to them in terms of what you recommend for the appropriate path forward?
I will tell them the same things I told you now, right now. Yeah, of course, because we'll tell them that we don't want, to live in hell. We want you to influence our lead, to talk with them. We're not telling them go and fight with them. Sit with them, talk with them, let them think otherwise, change their mind. We request what they can do. We don't want wars anymore. We want peace. And I'm sure that if all the European countries with USA and all the Southern America. I think if all of them will come and will say to both leaders, we won't leave you. We will sit around the parliament, sit down, both of you, and make peace. I think something will happen.
Yeah.
Because today at the university, I met two Liberian, Yael, two from Liberia, and we talked about Lima Boy, and they say that I don't know if you know our inspiration for our movement came from Lima Boy from Liberia, who got the Nobel Prize in 2000. I don't know when. So they said that since Lima Boy and the woman made, this peace between both of them, they say that stability is in Liberia. Both of them told me that now everything changed because 500 women, 500,000 women, sat around the parliament. They shouted to the two leaders, sit down and make the agreement. They didn't let them leave the parliament. And this is, I think, what the leaders of the countries should do with our leaders. Isn't it that, Yael? I dream? You think that I dream?
Yeah, it's not a dream. The Liberian women are really our inspiration to see how women can influence. There was a horrifying war, and they finished it. And we learned from them, and Lema Boy is one of our most important inspiration power. And by the way, you asked what we can ask from the people around the world. For me, first of all, the idea of being not pro-Palestine or pro-Israel, be pro-peace.
Yeah.
The idea that peace is possible and we need your support. And each one can find his personal way to do it. You can join and support our mother's call. You can find way to your leaders and try to influence their steps. You can come to our place, to our help us to make this international campaign of Mother's Call. And even though just jump to our joint website and say, we are with you, it's important. You can share it in your social media. You can speak with friends. You can invite us. We are coming everywhere. And I think the voices of women of peace should be heard everywhere in the world. And I want to tell you something about Lema Boy, which is very critical moment in my whole life. When we just began our movement, we invited her to give us a speech in the beginning of a big march that we did all over the country. And she arrived, it was night, and she arrived from the airport, and she was very tired, and I was sitting close to her, and I said, oh my goodness, she's sleeping, how she can give us hope, what we will do. And then she went to the stage and told us, listen, dear women, now you're taking the most important and challenging role to raise the flag of hope. And this is great responsibility. And you will have to pay high prices for this. And if someone of you is not willing to pay these prices, get out now from the room. And I couldn't believe how difficult it will be, but none of us leave the room. So we are fully committed to this way of working and believing and create hope. And for me, to find such great people like you and to know that we are not alone, to know that the majority of the people in the world, and of course in our area, really want peace.
Yeah.
And our voice is actually the humanity voice. And there were very black periods in the history, but a new one can come, and it's in our hands.
Absolutely. Well, conflicts can be resolved. We've seen it. We saw it in Ireland and in Liberia and Rwanda, South Africa, which of course, that doesn't mean all the challenges end the next day, but conflict can be resolved and regular people, real people can have influence. In particular, when we extend the olive branch, I've got my little olive tree here. So we extend the olive branch to each other, in peace. And you don't know what's possible, but conflicts can be resolved. Absolutely.
You know, I have a very good Palestinian friend that his daughter, 10 years old, was killed by soldiers. And he told me, I was the chairwoman of the Bereaved Families Forum, Israeli-Palestinian Bereaved Family Forum. And I know him from there. And he told me, we didn't kill 6 million of you, and you didn't kill 6 million of us. So we can live in peace. And to listen to a man that lost his beloved young daughter speaking like this gives me a lot of hope. And I think that our ability to look forward and, as you said, to look on conflicts that they were solved. And I'm reading a lot of stories from that conflicts, and I'm learning a lot of the historical part of women, to know what is our mission. And as you said, conflicts can be solved, and it can be happened here, and it's in our hands, especially in the women hand. And the idea that we are here together, even though our close and beloved partners, the Palestinian friends of us, are not here, I feel that both of us speaking in their name. We are working together, and where they can't arrive, we will be there. And this is our common commitment.
Yes, absolutely.
And if you like, for me, it's very important to read the Mother's Call.
Sure.
Can we do it?
Yes, please.
I'll try to do the few sentences at the beginning, and because I think it's very relevant. Okay?
Yeah.
We, Palestinian and Israeli women from all walks of life, are united in the human desire for a future of peace, freedom, equality, rights, and security for our children and the next generations. We believe that the majority of the people of our nations also share our mutual desire. Therefore, we demand that our leaders listen to our call and promptly begin peace talks and negotiations with a determined commitment to achieve a political solution to the long and painful conflict within a limited time frame. We wrote it 5 years ago, actually. And we call on the people of both nations, Palestinian and Israeli, and people of the region to join our call and demonstrate their support for the resolution of the conflict. We call on the women of the world to stand by us for a future of peace and security, prosperity, dignity, and freedom for ourselves, our children, and the people of the region. And this is for you. And we call on people of peace from around the world, both young and old, religious leaders, people of influence, community leaders, educators, and those who hold these issues close to their hearts to add their voices to our call. We invite our leaders to heed this voice and will of the people in this call to resolve the conflict and achieve an inclusive, just peace. We are committed to talking and an active role in the negotiation process until its successful resolution in line with UN Resolution 1325. And this is the most important lines. We call on our leaders to show courage and vision to bring about the historical change to which we all aspire. We join hands in determination and partnership to bring hope back to our peoples. So this is the idea, and I feel that we are actually doing this
Yes.
in these moments, and we get such
Can
a
I make
great
a comment?
energy.
Can I make a comment? Because I think this is important to recognize that the thing that you're doing is saying human beings, when we talk to one another and we talk about what we need and what we want and how we feel, we can find a solution because that's what we are. We're human beings. What you find is the men, in other words, the governments and the leaders, when they talk, when they negotiate in terms of how much equipment, how much money, how much time. They talk a different language. And somehow what you need to do as a women's movement is to make them understand it isn't about things and situations, it's about human beings. It's about humanity.
Yes, yes,
And until they recognize that, nothing will be solved. And notice they all try to solve the problem. They don't talk about people. They say, yes, but we got this problem. And what about when they did that and when you did this? And that's what they're negotiating on, not for the people.
Wow, it's so important. It's so important. You are focusing the real problem. And I think that your experience is very relevant to our problem.
Indeed.
And,
but also say, Bill, that humanity is above all. For instance, once they burned our church in Tiberias. I'm Christians, and they burned the most beautiful church, which was raised hundreds of years ago. And we were angry, the Christian people. But our main priest that I love so much, he said, churches we can build, mosques we can build, synagogues we can build, but we can't bring human being to live. يعني, if someone dies, you can bring him back. So, as you said, I accept each word that you have said, Bill, that everything you can buy with money, but you can't buy humanity. Humanity should be in your hearts. This is why I pray, God, that our hearts will open to see that our neighbors are like us. I don't want that my home is beautiful or I want to be happy. If my neighbor is not happy, I will never ever be happy because it will always look at my place. He will always look at how I am living and he wants to live like me. And he has to live like me. Why? Why I have to live and he doesn't? So if we open our hearts and we listen to each other and we look at the others as equal, I think that something will change. But now for our misfortune, both nations are not looking at there is still problems, but I think we are on the way of the solution. And if we are more women raising their voices and saying what we are saying in all the world and here, especially in Israel, I think there will be a solution. It will take time, but I think we are on the right path.
Yeah,
Yeah.
amen. That's beautiful. Well, I'm a father of two girls, and so part of what motivates me is to be able to leave them a peaceful world to live in and to be safe, even when they go to college, to experience being safe and comfortable and welcome on a college campus or wherever they may be in the world. But, that's like the universal desire that we all have for our families and our loved ones. And there can be nothing more important than the urgent task of aligning in our common humanity and recognizing our common humanity. And I love what you shared, Yael, earlier about the principle of no blaming, no shaming, because so often that's something that gets in the way. There's no space to be heard or to bring empathy if you're going into a headwind of that extreme hostility and shame. There's no space for peace. So, we get to move through that and beyond that.
One more very important principle for our way of making peace is inclusivity, which is very challenging. We understand that we have to find place for different voices.
Yeah.
And the idea that we have to understand the different points of view.
Unknown caller.
And it's, I think it's practicing to make peace in our societies. And then we can do it together. People used to ask me, please, what is more important, to do peace in our society or with our
Unknown
neighbors? And my answer is always, it's the same way of thinking. It's the same way of attitude, the people around you, to
Right.
find a place for others, the humanity connection, the idea that we are not alone. As Yam said, none of us will be happy when our neighbors are not happy. And this is our responsibility. We are part of this big net of people. And I think that our motivation, our hope rooted in the idea that in each one of us, also in our leaders, inside the voice of humanity, the voice of his mother is still there. And we have to influence and to demand the change, because wars can be ended. And for me, I don't know how much you involved in the historic part of wars in Israel, but we had the war in 67, and then there were very specific and concrete offers for making peace with Egypt and the Palestinians. And we said, no, we don't need peace. We are strong and brave. And there was a long war, a retition war, I think the word, I don't know, a war that,
War of attrition.
war of attrition, yeah. I lost my brother in this war,
Hmm.
and it was actually more than 3 years. And then there was the 73 terrible war. And only after that war, we realized that we have to make peace. So I believe that this awful war will explain all of us that we need peace. And as I said before, the majority of the people of Israel understands that we have to find political solution to this terrible situation. And I hope with the support of the international force and the international women, and the idea of making here a real good place, because it's heaven here. we can make it really a great place. It shouldn't be hell like
Yes.
this. We have such a great people from both sides with so many creativity and happiness that can be a great potential way to make here a very, very good and very attractive life for all of us. We just have to continue our path for peace and we will succeed.
Beautiful. Well, earlier you used the word opportunity, which stood out because we don't always see the opportunity in the midst of war. But can you elaborate on that and where you see the opportunity coming out of the midst of all this tragedy?
I'll tell you the sad point in the beginning. To 2021, I think, the the Arabic League, how we call it, the Arabic League, offered a very tempting offer.
Right.
It's very sad to say, but we didn't find time to discuss it even. And now, after so many years of bloody conflict, the offer is still there. And the idea is to finish the conflict, to make normalized relations with the Arabic countries and to find a mutual and solution to the Palestinian conflict, to bring them the ability to feel free and independent. And we can do it. It's still here. The solution actually is quite clear and quite easy. It's waiting for us to say yes, and for the Palestinian and the Arab nations. If we will say, all of us, yes, we can do it.
Amen.
And I fully understand the frightening and the despair of both nations. But I think that with deep and strong support from the nations, from the East and West nations, all of us will be very happy to change this reality. And we can do it. And we don't have to wait any more moment. And I hope that in a very short time, we'll see that it can be really a very, very good solution.
Yes, from your mouth to God's ears, as we say.
We need some
Miracle. We need a miracle, really.
no, a miracle. It will be great, but we think we need some. Oh, my English. We need some more people, more than to do it together. We need your support. That it's
Teamwork.
teamwork. Yeah.
It needs to
איך
just
אומרים
stop
שליחים?
fighting and
ימי,
go
איפה?
home.
Not message, wait.
No matter. The next conversation will be in Hebrew, okay?
Sure.
We say apostles. We need apostles, in order
Emissaries.
missionaries,
Emissaries.
Emissaries.
People who have passion, like Yael, like Reem, like plenty of our women. You should have
Like
passion
you.
in your heart, and to know that it's not easy. There are plenty of challenges, but to keep on going, because if you want to be frustrated, every day we can be frustrated and we can go home and say, oh my God, as most of the people are sitting at home looking at the TV and crying and shouting. No, we decided to do something. And as yesterday I heard something very nice, and also Yael always says that, do your best and don't worry about the rest.
That's
Which
right.
means that we are doing our best. We are doing whatever we can do. And I don't know if there is something we can do that we haven't done till now, if you have an idea that you can tell us should do this or do that, but we managed to do everything, everything that comes to our minds. We are doing it, and it's not easy. But we need also the world to be with us. And really, Matt, I'm so proud of you, since both of you live in England and you live in USA, and look, you are thinking about us. You are doing things in order to that people will listen to you. Really, I want plenty of people like you who will say, yes, I'm living in USA, I'm living in England, but the Middle East is so relevant to me, and it's so important for me. So
Yes.
continue doing your amazing work.
Thank you for that, Hiam. And it's a matter close to my heart and my people and my family, and having loved Jews, Muslims, Christians, atheists, etc., Hindus, every stripe and color, Mormons, like this is the human family. So we
Yeah,
really have an opportunity, and I really appreciate the acknowledgement. Our team is grounded in the power of language and the creative power of language and declaration and request. So we'd love to continue to work with you and be partners. And we have, of course, additional sessions coming up in this series where we can deepen the conversation, perhaps bring in additional voices, and really think about how can we have the impact, um, not like someday maybe, but really imminently, because now is the time.
yeah, it's the
Sure.
time.
Wow. It's unbelievable. I look at you and I feel like we are a family.
We
I
are.
want to hug you.
Come
I want to
on.
thank you. I'm a software engineer, so I have to find solution to make hugs via the
Yes,
computer.
hugs are good. I like hugs.
My profession is AI, artificial
Wow.
intelligence. So the next step will be to find a way to hug each other.
Yeah.
Yes, but there's no
But I really
substitute.
feel that we are here together and like close friends and family. And look what's happening with us. We really believe that it can be happen when we speak to each other, when we open the hearts, when we find the ways to make peace. Thank you so
Absolutely.
much.
You're
Thank you so
welcome.
much.
So the time has really flown past here. I'll offer some closing remarks just to complete our conversation. But before I do that, I want to offer you both the floor and see if there's anything else you'd like to say before we wrap up for the day.
I think I don't know. I think we just said whatever we wanted to say. Uh, but the special thing is that really, we we want that the war ends, and we want that the hostages will come back, and we can't live for another period in this heavy and bloody circle of blood. It's very difficult. It's very difficult.
Hmm.
As I told you before, we can't breathe. We want to breathe. We want to breathe, really. So,
I would like to try to say something in the name of our Palestinian partners that they are missing now, but they are in our hearts.
Hmm.
And I would say that don't forget us. We are suffering, all of us. The starvation, what's happening in Gaza, what's happening in the West Bank, what's happening with our people. Please, we need you. And thank you so much for your support. And something more that it's important for me to say in the personal way that I can express in English. Your support is so meaningful for me. The idea that people around the world are looking at us and giving us strength and courage, it's so important because it's really very, very difficult to continue to raise this flag of hope during these awful days. So thank you so much.
Well, you're very welcome. Our whole team is really very honored and delighted that you're with us and that we're together. And I mean, one thought that comes to mind here is just the idea that it's not the people that are enemies, it's the ideas that infect our minds that make us seem different from each other. And of course, people take up arms, and that's a terrible thing. But really, if we can work on the ideology and find ways to bridge in the space of ideas and create a view of the world where we can coexist and we can just flip the script completely, where Israelis and Palestinians are not a source of conflict, but a source of inspiration to the whole entire world, where resources are used for environmental sustainability and healthcare and jobs and development and all the good things, education. So there really is that opportunity that I see, and this is the beginning of something and not the end. And God willing, we'll have a 1 year reunion and we'll come back and look and say, look what we did, look at the peace that everyone working together, all the good people. So I acknowledge you, Yael and Hiam, and I also acknowledge um, all of our Palestinian partners and Israeli partners and partners all over the world who are believing in peace and standing for peace and working for peace. And even people who are maybe a little bit timid, or maybe they're in a community or family environment where they feel like, just speaking to our viewers, like where you don't have space or freedom to feel like you can speak out and take a stand for peace. We all get to think about what is one small thing that I can do to extend an olive branch or be kind in some way or to promote understanding. Like everyone who's on that precipice of being an agent for positive change, like take the step, make the step, let's work together, and we can really do good things. So building on that, I acknowledge the people watching today and the people watching later in the recording, and just everyone who's involved in this whole movement. And the other thing I want to say is I want to say a prayer. I offer a prayer of peace and protection for all the peacemakers and all of our families, and really for everyone who just wants to live together and coexist and move beyond this terrible reality that we find ourselves in today, and to step into the possibility and the hearts of so many who are desiring peace all over the world. And really, there's a possibility of something very beautiful coming out of all of this. So I invite you to trust your heart and just hold a positive expectation that peace and reconciliation is not only possible, but imminent. And together we can do it. And, I just want to say to our viewers here, we want everyone to be involved, to get involved, to follow the Middle East Peace Civic Forum and Women Wage Peace and Women of the Sun and the Mother's Call and all the good organizations that are coming together. Engage, reach out, build bridges, whether it's a simple thing like reposting something or commenting or just engaging in that way. It builds visibility for this movement, and it's so critical. So our website is MEPCF.org, Middle East Peace Civic Forum. Of course, we invite anyone who's so moved to contribute and support these conversations and our ability to facilitate this kind of dialogue. It's so important, and we're so inspired and touched and moved to do this work. And it's really a privilege to be able to keep on doing it. And God willing, in 12 months or 24 months, we can go and do something else, maybe pick olives together, or have other productive activities that don't involve conflict, and the war will be behind us, and we'll be able to step into a beautiful existence of peace. So with that, I thank you all. I want to thank you too, Bill, for being here and for holding a beautiful space of peace and no judgment, no make wrong, full neutrality, and just that beautiful space that you bring. So to Yael and Hiam, again, thank you. God bless you. To those who couldn't be with us today, thank you and God bless you, and to be continued.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, really thank you for the opportunity that the world will listen to us and help us in order to change our situation. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Well, God bless. So with that, I'm going to declare the session complete. I'll stop the live stream. So to those watching at home, thank you, and we'll see you.